This is the Doctor. Um, we just beat the Black Monolith with the Red Company. Lost a brother, my one of my super tanks. But otherwise, nobody else died. It's actually kind of surprising. I probably should have lost some other characters. But for the most part, that was about the result I would have expected. I do admit my play was not very good in that fight. There were a lot of mistakes. In particular, the fear from the ancient priest was absolutely devastating. It shouldn't be that bad. Like with the banner, you should be okay. But a lot of my characters, I wasn't positioning them in range of the banner. There were some very tactically questionable moves. Normally, I take a lot of time to think my moves through, but I felt I played pretty quickly during that fight, probably way too quickly. But nevertheless, we won. Despite suboptimal characters, suboptimal builds. I mean, we do have a decent number of famed items, but a lot of this isn't like the top tier famed item. They're like 262 male. We could get better than that. 300 armor isn't even famed. But they do have the advantage of having pretty low fatigue when I put on the light padding. So it's a very good fatigue armor ratio. And I have a smattering of backgrounds. I think all my backgrounds, except for the companions, are unique. Like, look at this guy. Did this own Noble, did a great job. He's been in 158 battles and 271 kills. Yeah, did a pretty good job. My Bannerman, I mean, can't attack, but he rallied when he needed to. Lancer did okay. Didn't actually use the throwing axes in that battle. Should have probably had a sword there, but yeah, did a good job. Oh my gosh, that not the lethal mallet, the original. I should equip Sigmar there with the original, the Wolf's Battle Hammer. This is the weapon that made the campaign so many battles. This was the weapon Sigmar brought to bear against, for instance, that very first orc warlord he dueled. Absolutely amazing stuff. This is truly the MVP of the campaign, this weapon. Although this well-crafted mace, very close second, I just didn't have as long of a chance to use my duelist. But in 111 battles, he has 225 kills. Very good stuff. And then retired soldier. This character should have gone duelist, but I didn't even give him that. And even then, with the lightning sword, he did fine. Like, he was okay. The duelist definitely would help. Like, you gotta drop something underdog for duelist here. Absolutely needs duelist. There's no question about that with the lightning sword. But I didn't know how good that weapon would be when I first started this campaign. I think what I was gonna make him was like a great sword, and he would swap between the great sword and the noble sword. Sort of like I did a little bit of that with this character. So that you can quick hands to one-hander and attack and get your all your AP back and recover, so you keep up the killing frenzy buff. Very nice stuff. Brute. I was going to make this like an axe character, or maybe even a one-handed mace duelist. I think mace duelists are very underrated. If you have Brute, it's quite potent. I've had very good success with this type of build. Even with a regular mace, as long as you got Brute, this character with 3-star melee, he's like the perfect flail duelist. But, you know, even though a lot of these characters are quite suboptimal, we still beat the hardest content in the game. A lot of characters are close to death. If you had a more optimal team, I think your characters would be in much better shape. We wouldn't have lost the super tank. There's a way to do a build where he gets Indomitable and the lightning sword and just riposte and kills stuff in the northern half, and so on and so forth. But whatever. I kind of feel like with these difficult battles, you really should lose some characters. Otherwise, it's not all that interesting. Yeah, this is the best character I feel like in the entire campaign. My Sellsword, 266 battles and 457 kills. Look at Sigmar. He has 269 battles and 476 kills. So very comparable. Sigmar is a little better, but he also has 3 more battles. So very, very comparable. In fact, of most of the characters in the fight, uh, he took relatively little damage thanks to his insane base melee defense, and plus Nimbo keeping him alive. Not that he barely even got hit. Like his armor is intact still. So this character is so amazing. I absolutely love this Cell Sword. But even some of these characters of more dubious backgrounds, like Militia, or somehow this guy who's supposed to be a martyr, he was supposed to be disposable, somehow with no stars in melee defense and melee skill, and dubious perk distributions, got through the Black Monolith okay. Although he was literally one hit away from dying. I will say my pikemen build are a little different. I get quick hands now, but then again, I take quick hands on most characters these days. It is ridiculously overpowered, that perk. The more I play with it, the stronger I feel it is. Yeah, I don't really have, in this playthrough, too many Nimbo characters. I only have really one frontliner who's Nimbo. I mean, the Bannerman doesn't really count. I do feel Nimbo is strong enough. You can definitely have more Nimbo characters in this fight. You'll be fine. They just have to be more optimized. Plus, my tactics weren't very good. Like, if I had better tactics in Black Monolith, I think things would be a lot better. For instance, don't charge in to save the suicide tank, or if you have the right build, it's not even a suicide tank. The way you're supposed to do is you send a character off, distract the undead, then once you beat the southern group, you regroup in the right formation, recover everybody, and then they move up, and you counterattack, and you'll be fine. Yeah, so I think this is a good place to end the campaign. There is supposed to be another crisis on, but if you watch the videos where I didn't commentate on, I basically slaughtered every single greenskin I came across. Frankly, I didn't even try to beat the invasion beyond just like killing everything in my path, but I kill everything in my path anyway. It's not like I went out my way to do anything special, and somehow we're winning. So this is what I mean by the additional crises don't do anything. Like, the obvious, we're gonna beat this. They might burn down one of these little villages or something, but what does that matter? Like, it doesn't matter. So permanent destruction is irrelevant. Like, it's also, I probably could have donned Monolith earlier if I had like more optimal teams and whatnot, but frankly, it's more interesting to play with like less optimal characters and builds, and try to rely on tactics to win. So definitely could use some tactical improvements in the Black Monolith. For comparison, I do have an offline campaign that was the third one I did of this DLC, and this one was much more optimized. And I feel like my characters it's approximately the same day. This one's 208, and it was 206 in the other one. And I have a mixture of characters. I just want to show off this guy. My God, an assassin. You get this guy by keeping a bastard in your company. This guy's actually a pretty good, like, nimble duelist, but nothing like this character. My gosh, with such ridiculous melee skill. I've never seen this type of distribution. He started at 70 base melee skill with 3 stars, and he had really good initiative too. So I made him a character. Depending on the fight, he either goes a shield against like ranged characters, or he goes like a two-hander into dagger. So that way he can consistently apply stagger and do 2 overwhelms a turn. Plus, this does a lot of damage to armor. This is really good at penetrating armor and just adding a bit of extra damage. Really, really cool and fun character. I take like dodge. A little low on the hit points, but he'll be fine. In between his insane defenses, especially when you factor in dodge, and then overwhelm, like he can duel anything in the game. And then the others are just like somewhat more optimized. Also, I have a lot more famed items in this run, I feel like. Like, I have many suits of 300 plus famed armors, lots of helms. I have this crazy strong polearm. I've never seen a polearm this good. Could definitely use some better weapons. I don't have that super mace, but some other interesting builds I tried, like a Fencer build. Wasn't super impressed with this. I think his melee attack is too low for it to be any good. I have some other nimble frontliners, a nimble dedicated tank, although really you should get a character of star, so he's kind of disposable. The axe nimble headhunter duelist is kind of interesting with a famed axe. Quite a decent character. I mean, thing is, I don't even use him because of how strong a lot of my other frontliners are. This guy, the sword duelist, is interesting because people always say, oh, you need all this fatigue to make your characters work. Well, that's true, but if you have famed armor, and I don't even think it's that hard to get famed armor, this guy has 116 fatigue. Like, that's terrible. But if you have the right set, he's got plenty of usable fatigue. And I didn't even take brawny on this character. It's like, doesn't really seem to benefit from it. This armor and this helm are so light that and swords are very fatigue efficient. So, but of course you need access to good, famed armor and stuff like that. Even without it, like, he has such insane defenses, he'll be fine. Anything else? Ooh, retired soldiers. I don't know why people hate retired soldiers. I think they're amazing. You have to find the right one. Like, they're not all good, but look at this guy with insane defenses. Very good attack. I made him ultimate spearman. So very nifty to have in the battle line. The usual tanks. I've started taking Dominable on tanks to deal with lots of enemies. I do kind of feel like you need Indomitable on tanks. I didn't have any of Indomitable tanks in the previous playthrough. But you could do something like skip Steel Brow and take Adrenaline. That's probably actually the right thing to do. That way you can Adrenaline into Indomitable and basically like Adrenaline recover and then Indomitable. And the next turn Adrenaline recover, Indomitable. That way you have Indomitable up 100%. Doubles the number of hits you can take. And you can't be stunned. It's insanely good. I tried a throwing build in this campaign. Not super impressed with it. Maybe I'm just not using him right. But I don't know. You're supposed to go like throwing mastery and duelist and stuff. Maybe he needs headhunter. I don't know what to do with the last perk. I was thinking actually Battle Forge on this character. Give him some heavier armor or something like that. Steel Brows was a good choice because he has terrible hit points. You can get like 2 shot in the head. But I don't know. I wasn't super impressed with the throwing spec. What else was interesting in this campaign? I don't think there was too much else. I did lose some characters to the legendary witch hut in this run because they were on a hill. It was actually a really, really interesting fight. I could only snipe one of the 5 Hexen, so they could actually like charm me. It was interesting battle, but I didn't record any of it. I didn't do any of the other legendary locations in this game, but I mean, I'm gonna win. I had a weaker party. I beat all the other ones, and this is a stronger party. So they're not really all that interesting once you've like done them once or twice. What I feel like this game needs is some sort of ultimate endgame crisis where an endless number of enemies, like 8 to 10 groups of 20 enemies, attack a town a day. So you can either try to save the town. I mean, even if you beat all of them, you're probably going to get very injured. And then the next day, enemies come again. So you can't like hold out forever. You're going to have to retreat. You're going to burn down a town. You retreat to the next town. You go for that one. And then you retreat from, like, you fight them there after recovering a bit. Then you retreat and so on and so forth. Wouldn't that be so much more interesting as a survival mode? And it would be great to fight a diverse group of enemies, because once you do the legendary fights once, I mean, that's it. Like, there's anything else to do. And that's fine. You could do stuff like, oh, day 100 monolith and so forth, but after doing, like, I've never done that, but I could probably do that. This doesn't really interest me. So I feel like the best parts of the game are like the first 10 to 60 or 80 days. Like, it's the most interesting portion because you don't have unlimited resources, and it's not a grind. Like, every fight is important in terms of gearing up and prepping and strengthening your party. Like, every decision can make a difference. And after a certain amount of point, it's just grinding until you feel like doing the legendary fights, and that's pretty much it. So, still, like, amazing game. I've played this game a lot, and it takes a very, very long time to get to points like this. So it's got an incredibly steep learning curve. But people are, I think, unduly focused on, like, oh, like this particular perf, Nimbo, going to be, I think, nerfed in the coming DLC by 5% or something like that. It's like the end of the world for Nimbo. And quick hands may not work with shields or something like that. It's the end of the world for quick hands, and nobody's going to do any interesting builds anymore. Like, I don't believe that. Plus, it doesn't really matter. Like, in the battle with the Red Company, a lot of my builds were very suboptimal with random backgrounds, and they were all fine. Like, it was fine. The only battle that even gave us trouble in the late game was the Black Monolith, and we still won. A little dicey here and there, but that was mostly because I played poorly. Imagine if a better player used that composition I had. I think they would have beaten it very handily. Anyway, thank you for watching. Until the DLC drops, Warriors of the North, I'll probably do a new campaign for that. So until then, bye-bye.